What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Jack with DevSlopes here, coming back at you with our API course. And we're going to wrap this up with authentication. Or actually, we're not going to quite wrap it up because we're going to have another section on deploying to DigitalOcean. But this is pretty much going to wrap the API up. I'm going to show you how to install or how to add authentication to your API. And that's going to involve local authentication, so email and password. And it's going to be stored in your Mongo database. Salted and hashed, of course. So let's go ahead and jump in here, and this could get long. I'll try to make it fairly quick. It's not really that complicated, but we need to install some packages. So I'm going to pull up a terminal here, and I'm in my project folder, and I'm going to say npm install --save. And everything that we're going to install for authentication is going to be in our regular dependencies. So we're not going to have any dev dependencies here. But we need to install something called express-jwt. And we need to install JSON web token. And we need to install passport and passport local, passport-local, and passport-local-mongoose. And I think that may be it. Now this express JWT, the JWT stands for JSON web token. And the way this is going to work is that we're going to have a register URL. So you can register with your email and password. And then once you're registered, you can log in. And when you log in with your username and password, it'll verify that and send you back an access token. And that access token is a JSON web token. And then you'll just keep that, and you can set the expiration on that to however long you want it to be. But anyway, as long as you have that JSON web token, you can use that and pass that in with your API calls to get right through. Pretty neat system. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter here to install these, and we'll be right back. And they're installed, so I'm back. Let's double check our package.json. And yes, indeed, they are installed. So now then that we've got our packages installed, we need to move on, and we're going to have to create a new model. And I'm probably going to break this video up into a couple of videos, but we're going to mainly work on the model and setting some of the stuff up in this one, and then we'll go on to actually implementing it and how you use it in the next one. But anyway, under model here, I'm going to right click and say new file. And we need to name this file account.js. And now our account.js, it's just a model, a data model, just like the others we've used. So we're going to just import Mongoose here. And then we're going to do const schema equals mongoose.schema. And then we need to import passport local mongoose. From passport-local-mongoose. All right. And Passport is a package that makes authentication really, really nice. It's very handy, and there's a lot of different strategies you can use. You can use local strategies. You can use Facebook or Google login. A lot of different ones. We're only going to cover local in this one. But feel free, you can go to npm and search for Passport and read all about it. So here we're just going to say let account equal new schema. And then we're going to have two fields here. We're just going to have email and password. Both strings. You know, actually, these need to be required. All right, and we'll close that off, and we'll do the same thing with password here. Okay, and then we'll put our semicolon there. And one thing we need to do here is we need to make a call. So for our schema here, we need to say account.plugin. So we're going to use a plugin, and the plugin is this Passport Local Mongoose up here. So I'm just going to copy that and paste that in there. And then we're going to export this. So we'll just say module.exports equals mongoose.model, and then account and account. So that's how we're going to set that up. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. So we're pretty much done with our model here. So let's go ahead and turn back to our routes here. And in our routes, we need to import our account. And we don't have this controller yet, but we're going to create it here in just a minute. Okay, so we've got our account there. And we need to put our route in here. And we'll just say account. And then just like we have in the past. So we'll save that. Okay, and now we'll turn to our controller. And we've got to create an account controller. That is not what I wanted. I want a new file. So we're going to go ahead and start setting this up, and we'll finish filling it out in the next video. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get our imports in here. All right, we need to import passport from passport and import our config. All right, and then one other thing we need to import here is we need to import some things from a file that we're going to create here in just a minute. And we're going to use destructuring to pull off certain elements out of this file. So we're going to pull out generate access token, respond, and authenticate from, and like I said, this file hasn't been created yet, but it will be shortly. And I'm not going to put this auth middleware in with our standard middleware stuff. It's going to be in the same folder, but it's going to be in its own file. All right, let's go ahead and export default, config and DB. And then we need to say let API equals router. And then we're going to put our routes in here. And when we're done, we just need to return API. So that's pretty much all we're going to do in this video for that one. So let's go ahead and turn back to our main index file here. And we need to import some stuff from here. We've got our config and our routes and everything imported. We need to import passport. And we also need to declare a variable here called local strategy. And that's what Passport uses. They call them strategies. So a local strategy is going to be like your email and password stored locally. If you use Facebook, that'll be a Facebook strategy. Google will be a Google strategy, etc., etc. And that's how we declare this. We declare this local strategy variable, and then we require passport local.strategy. All right, so we've got all of that. And now we can skip down here to this passport config that I put a comment in when we first started. And we can go ahead and start adding this in. So the first thing we got to do is initialize it. And then we're gonna bring in our account here. So we'll say let account equal require, and then model/account. And remember, we're in our main index, so we're on the same level as all these folders. So we just had to do a ./model and account. Alright, so then we'll just say passport.use, and then new local strategy. And then in here, we're going to map the username field to email. And we're going to map the password field to password. That way we can refer to them in our other files as email and password when we're using Passport. And then here we need to put a comma and come back up here, and we need to say account.authenticate. And then we need to close this off with a semicolon. Now there's two things left that we need to do. The way Passport works is it serializes and deserializes a user when they try to log in. And all that means is it's just kind of like serializing and deserializing data. It just converts it so that it can be used. But we need to call those here. So we need to say passport.serializeUser. And then we pass in account.serializeUser and call that. And then we do the same thing with deserialize. All right, we're cooking with grease. Let me jump over here and save that file. I apparently didn't do that. Okay, so that's pretty much all the setup in our index. So we've got that. We created our account model, and we started our account controller, but we'll have to finish it out. And then we also need to add our auth middleware, which we will do that in the next video, but I just noticed that's going to be auth middleware with a capital M. Alright, so we've got a good start here on Passport and local authentication. Jump over to the next video with me and we'll continue on and wrap this up.